That night, I sat in the darkness of my compound, clutching the carved staff the dibia had given me. The faint sound of the knocking began again, slow and deliberate. The wind rustled through the banana leaves, and the shadows seemed to breathe. This time, I wasn't afraid. I remembered the dibia's final words, even the strongest spirits have weaknesses. I thought about Obinna, the man who had once been my brother. I replayed every conversation, every story he had told me, searching for a crack in his power. Then it struck me, Obinna had always been terrified of fire. As children, he avoided the village bonfires, and even as an adult, he steered clear of anything that burned. I went back to the dibia the next morning and told him my plan. He nodded solemnly. "You are right. Fire weakens his kind. But you must act quickly, he will not wait forever." The dibia gave me a small pouch filled with powdered herbs and instructed me to sprinkle it into the flames when the time came. "This will summon his spirit and weaken his hold," he said. That evening, I called the villagers together. For weeks, they had avoided my compound, fearing Obinna's wrath, but now, their curiosity outweighed their fear. I told them everything about Obinna's betrayal, the loss of my children, and the dibia's advice. The elders, filled with righteous anger, agreed to help me. They lit a massive bonfire in the center of the village square, its flames roaring high into the night sky. Women sang war songs, their voices rising in defiance, while the men stood guard with machetes and spears. As the fire blazed, I stepped forward, clutching the pouch of herbs. The air grew heavy, and the shadows seemed to ripple. Suddenly, a cold wind blew, extinguishing all the torches except the bonfire. A figure appeared at the edge of the square, Obinna. He stood there, his eyes glowing red, his smile unnaturally wide. "You think fire can stop me?" he sneered. His voice was a deep, guttural growl that sent chills through the crowd. I stepped closer to the fire, holding the staff tightly. "You've taken my family, Obinna," I said, my voice steady. "But tonight, this ends." With that, I threw the powdered herbs into the flames. The fire roared, turning a brilliant shade of blue, and Obinna let out a scream that shook the ground. He tried to flee, but the villagers surrounded him, chanting prayers and striking the ground with their machetes. The fire's light revealed his true form, a monstrous figure with charred skin and claws for hands. His once confident smile twisted into a mask of terror. "Chokudi, please," he begged, his voice cracking. "Spare me." But I had no mercy left for him. I raised the staff and chanted the final prayer the dibia had taught me. The fire leapt toward him, engulfing his body. He screamed one last time before collapsing into ash. The moment Obinna perished, the air grew still. The villagers looked around, unsure of what to expect. Then, from the shadows, I heard soft voices, familiar voices. "Papa." I turned and saw them, Chisholm and Kamsi, standing hand in hand, their faces lit by the glow of the fire. Behind them was Adeabi, her eyes filled with tears. I ran to them, gathering them in my arms, my heart overflowing with relief and joy. The villagers erupted in celebration, their songs turning from war chants to joyful melodies. The elders declared that the udala tree in my compound would be a symbol of victory over darkness, a reminder that evil could be defeated with courage and unity. As the first rays of dawn broke over Yumuk, I stood with my family, watching the villagers disperse. The nightmare was over. Obinna, the wicked friend, was gone forever, and the laughter of my family returned to fill our home.